Hi, everybody. We continue the podcast series with a podcast discussion on Ayn Rand, her ideas, and how they fit into the modern world.
Here's something that blew my mind. In a recent survey, 70% of people who strongly disagreed with Ayn Rand's philosophy admitted they'd never actually read her work. Today, we're exploring why this controversial thinker still drives such passionate debate, even among those who've never cracked open one of her books.
That's such an interesting observation about how people form such strong opinions without direct exposure to her ideas. What do you think drives that kind of reaction?
Well, I think it speaks to how she managed to hit this raw nerve in our cultural debates that still resonates today. She had this almost brutal clarity in her writing. In an age where everyone dances around difficult topics, she just laid everything out there.
The way she translated complex economic ideas into moral arguments was pretty revolutionary for her time.
Oh, exactly. I was talking to an economist who pointed out that before Rand, most defenses of capitalism were purely technical. Like, this system produces more goods efficiently. But she came along and said, no, it's morally right for people to pursue their own happiness.
Though some would argue she took that moral absolutism too far.
You know, that's a fair point. Take her view on self-interest versus altruism. She presents it as this stark either-or choice. But real life is so much messier, right? Is there room for something in between? I think so.
I think so too. If we look at the data, studies actually show that successful entrepreneurs are more likely to engage in philanthropic activities. And that could be aligned with her philosophy if they did so of their own free will, without being pressured to do so.
Exactly. And it points to how voluntary cooperation and community actually strengthen freedom rather than threaten it.
The key point being they should do so willingly and of their own accord. For her, the individual was not a means to collective ends, political schemes, or fashionable causes. The individual was the basic unit of moral meaning.
When you look at current trends, some of her warnings seem almost prophetic. Like, studies show government regulations have increased by over 40% in the last decade alone. She was writing about the dangers of expanding state control decades ago.
That's quite striking. How do you think she would view today's digital landscape?
Oh man, can you imagine Ayn Rand on Twitter? I think she'd see cancel culture as exactly what she warned about, this collective pressure to conform. But you know what's wild? She might have loved how technology has enabled individual creators to reach global audiences without traditional gatekeepers.
The democratization of information would likely have appealed to her individualist philosophy.
Right. And speaking of technology, recent studies show that independent content creators now generate over $104 billion annually in the creator economy. That's exactly the kind of individual production she championed.
Though I wonder what she'd make of the role social media plays in amplifying group thinking.
Well, an interesting take on that thought. There was a recent study showed that 65% of people admit to self-censoring on social media due to fear of backlash. That's exactly the kind of collective pressure she warned would stifle individual thought.
So how do we reconcile her insights about individual liberty with the reality of our interconnected world?
A key understanding is that she got something fundamentally right about human dignity and individual rights, even if her framework was sometimes too rigid. Recent psychological research shows that personal autonomy is actually crucial for mental well-being and innovation.
The data certainly supports that connection between freedom and human flourishing.
Her emphasis on production versus redistribution. In current debates about inequality, there's often this assumption that wealth just exists naturally. But Rand insisted on understanding how wealth is created in the first place.
The way she connected economic concepts to human choices and personal responsibility was quite remarkable.
Exactly. Recent economic studies show that countries with stronger property rights and economic freedom consistently show higher rates of innovation and new business creation. It's like she understood this connection between individual rights and human progress intuitively.
So what do you think is her most important legacy for today's world?
Well, I think she got something fundamentally right about the moral dimension of freedom. In an age where we're seeing increasing pressure to conform, her defense of individual thought and responsibility feels more crucial than ever. Recent surveys show that 67% of young people feel afraid to express unpopular opinions. That's exactly the kind of conformity she warned against.
That's quite a sobering statistic about our current cultural climate.
Whether you agree with her or not, she understood something vital about human dignity and the importance of independent thinking. And in today's world of algorithmic bubbles and viral groupthink, maybe that's a message we need to hear more than ever.